Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your trusted weather source here, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype, here on your Friday, April 25th, 2025. Now, before we get going, first I want to say thank you to any new subscribers here on the channel. And if you haven't yet subscribed, what you waiting for, my friend? Please hit that subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And if you appreciate the support, please leave me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. It does help a little bit out with the algorithm. All right, let's start off by taking a look at our big picture as we're looking at the GOES 19 satellite, as we're looking at some scattered showers and storms out there this morning. You're seeing the lightning data showing up here with the satellite data pretty well. You're seeing the scattered storms across Kentucky, back over toward areas of Mississippi, also over here toward Kansas and into parts of Oklahoma and Texas here for this morning. Got a low pressure system out here on the west coast that's going to be coming on in. This is the one we got to watch going into this upcoming weekend and into early next week. That may bring in another round of severe weather as we go into Monday and Tuesday. Now, as we go ahead and look at our current hazards out there right now, not looking bad. Just a couple areas of fog out here across Arkansas, parts of the Panhandle, a little bit of toward Tennessee. A little windy out here toward New Mexico expected for today. Red flag there into Colorado. Notice some winds here across Nevada and California. And yeah, look at that. Got a little winter weather advisories there for Sierra Nevada as that west coast storm system begins to move on in. Now, as we go look at our current surface map, what we're going to finally start to see is the storm system here in the middle of the country start to make a move here off toward the east. Yeah, once again, looking at that slight risk for severe weather back in the cards across New Mexico and Texas, where they got walloped yesterday. We'll talk more about that in a second. And you're seeing the scattered rain and storms there across the area right now, across the south. Very juicy air mass here, very tropical, and we're going to continue to stay unsettled here for today. Now we go ahead and look at some of this heavier rain here closer to Oklahoma City right now, as we're seeing some of that rain showing up there just to the north there, kind of up toward Edmond and El Reno, getting some pretty heavy rain, a little bit of lightning and thunder here. I'm going to come in toward Oklahoma City here for this morning. And we'll see some more activity come into Oklahoma a little bit later today as we wait for those storms to fire up again out toward Texas, where it's been hitting blasted several days in a row, especially across West Texas and parts of the Texas Panhandle. Now, here's our storm reports from yesterday. What's interesting is that we weren't expecting a big tornado outbreak. We had 17 tornadoes yesterday, quite a bit. So we had a slight risk in the morning, and then the new data was coming in, and it definitely went from a slight risk to enhanced. Tornado risk went up. Hail reports, we had 75 of those things, and boy, they've been getting hammered out there. Take a look at this photo. I mean, wow, look at the size of that thing. We're talking 5-inch size hail here, about the size of a CD with those hails. Now, I don't know if we're going to get quite that big today, but I do think we're going to see that breakdown here for today for more hail similar in size. I'm thinking 2 to 3 inches, but we'll break this down for you. Let's look at the Storm Prediction Center breakdown here for today. Again, marginal risk going in toward Oklahoma City. The slight risk is basically Amarillo down toward Lubbock. The same zones have been getting blasted pretty much all week this week. So let's go and break down the category for this. Let's look at the tornado risk. Today it's showing 2%, but it was showing 2% yesterday. So we'll watch closely, see if this changes once again a little bit later today. I don't think it will, but running about 2% in that same hot zone. Plainview, Lubbock, and up near Amarillo are under the gun. The wind and hail threat, that'll be higher today. There's the bullseye for the wind and hail threat. Obviously, where that slight risk is, that's where the bullseye will be right for there. And also the hail threat as well. Again, I think hail 2 to 3 inches potentially, and with some of this, maybe some large hail into the same zone. So we're talking south of Amarillo, down toward Lubbock, Plainview, heading down toward Brownfield, those areas in here. That's going to be our target zone here for the large hail and the storms. And these storms will basically progress off toward the east here as they get fired up late today and into this evening. Now let's go ahead and break down your category storm systems through the weekend. So let's talk about going in toward your Saturday. We still got a little marginal risk in here going into Saturday. We'll see if it stays that way, but that's going in toward your Saturday for parts of eastern New Mexico and of course the Texas Panhandle and stuff in there. Once again, the general thunderstorm threat. Some changes here. You notice that we're finally getting a little bit of dry weather here across portions of the Midwest. We got that frontal system kind of coming down to the south. General thunderstorm threat out here into the high plains and also out here toward the west coast as well, going into the Intermountain region with that next storm system moving on in here. Maybe you'll see a few general thunderstorms out there. Then as we go into day 3, that's when things will start to make that transition into what we're worried about heading into next week, going into Monday and Tuesday. Notice we got a general marginal severe risk of severe weather here all the way down from basically the Canadian border all the way down to Mexico with a little slight risk bullseye there across Nebraska. It's this storm system as this low pressure system which kind of kicks out of the Intermountain region and kicks out into the plains. That's going to be setting off severe weather going into Monday especially. That is the target zone that's got me the most concerned, where I think we may see an uptick in tornado activity, predominantly because we're going to have stronger winds aloft to work with here. So let's go look at your day 4 and day 5 outlook here. Again, this is the day 4, and as you can see, we got a bit of a bullseye right there of the enhanced. Now, this has gotten a little bit larger from what was being seen yesterday from the Storm Prediction Center here. So we're talking Wisconsin into Minnesota, back toward Kansas, northern Missouri, even parts of Illinois under the gun here. And again, potential tornadoes are not out of the question. I think a couple dozen. I think that's pretty reasonable here for this next outbreak. Now, as we go into your day 5, that system begins to slide off toward the east. I think the tornado risk will begin to back down, but still a pretty large area here, going from areas of New York State, stretching all the way back into Oklahoma and Texas, coming right through the Midwest. So this will go into your Tuesday into Wednesday morning to watch as that storm system begins to press off toward the east. So those are the 2 days we're going to really be watching very closely here with the thunderstorm threat. So let's go ahead and talk about the analysis. Let's go ahead and look at the model data. We're going to first take a look at the short-term data here, looking at basically the next 40 hours, taking you into early Sunday morning. So again, we're watching first. We'll talk about the folks here in the east as I got this thing looping. Again, we got the storm system pressing off this way throughout the day today and going in towards Sunday, or going into Saturday. So it looks like a wet and rainy period up here toward the northeast as we go into your Saturday. These storms stretching here across the southeast. Here's that cluster of storms flaring up late today. They'll begin to move off toward the east, going in toward your Saturday there. And going late in the day. So it looks like this stuff's going to get fired up pretty late today and then moving off toward the east. And then, of course, we got the big swirl out here on the west coast. This is our upper level disturbance out here. Pretty strong low pressure coming into Southern California. That'll be bringing in some snows for the Sierra Nevada, thus the winter weather advisories we showed you there, and some rains. Looks like the heaviest rains will be up here into Northern California as this system comes on in. And then we'll watch this thing begin to traverse and kick on out the Rockies, and that'll be setting up our severe weather as we go in towards your Monday and Tuesday. So let's break that down. Again, we got the severe weather today, late today and tonight, that we're going to watch here, obviously, across portions of Texas. That's that cluster of storms there. And then we got to watch that big low pressure system as it moves inland. So we're going to look here at the rainfall totals that we're expecting here for the next 40 hours. Obviously, the big bullseye here across areas of Oklahoma and in toward Texas. That's that cluster of storms coming in late today with that system. So we'll go and zoom in here. We'll kind of highlight some of the higher rainfalls in here. So you're looking at 2 inches. There's a bullseye there of almost 6. Here's one of 3. Here's another one up to 6. So some very localized heavy rainfall amounts depending on exact tracks of these storms. And this thing progresses through Oklahoma and into portions of Arkansas. Now, as the system begins to pull off toward the east, we got some decent rainfalls here across portions of the Ohio River Valley, again, depending on the tracks of the storms. 4 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches. Here's a little over a half inch. New England looking at over an inch of rain there, going into Massachusetts and stuff, going into probably late in the day on Saturday. And then, of course, we got the folks out here on the west coast. Not a ton of rain here, but seeing some rainfall amounts here, maybe about a half inch down here towards Southern California. Over an inch here across Northern California as we go into the day going into Saturday as that thing begins to roll on inland. So some pretty healthy rains here over the next 40 hours as that the big cluster of storms goes through Texas and the big storm system pushes off toward the east there for this upcoming weekend, and then obviously the storm coming in on the west coast. So let's talk about that west coast storm because that's the one that has me concerned here. Again, we're going to be looking at the 300 millibar European model. We're looking at the jet stream here, okay? And it's the wind energy that has me the most concerned here. As you're looking at the dive in the jet stream here, you're looking at the higher winds coming through the Four Corners region here. This is going into Monday morning. So as this thing starts to kick on out going into Monday, and it shifts up into areas there, Ohio, going into Monday night, that's some very high wind energy. So we're going to be dealing with some pretty strong winds blowing this way. And at the surface, we're dealing with winds coming this way. So we're going to have what's called wind shear in this area. So very strong, high, upper level winds. We're going to have some decent instability, some decent cape in there as well to feed those storms. So Iowa is definitely my target zone for potential tornadoes as we go into Monday, late in the day on Monday, and going into Tuesday morning. Now, as looking at the snapshot of this for that time period here, looking again at the European here, it's not lining up all that much. Now, as we get closer, we'll get the intermediate and the short range models. We'll get a better lock here. But it is definitely firing up storms here from Minnesota, going all the way down in here toward North Texas. And each one of these are little clusters of individual supercell thunderstorms in here. And it's those supercell storms that can drop not only tornadoes, but significant tornadoes. And because of the wind energy that's going to be coming into Iowa, I'm concerned that we may see an isolated, EF3, a bigger tornado than some of the smaller ones that we saw yesterday across portions of Texas. So this is severe weather event number 1. I do want to take you back to the 300 millibar, and I want to show you the one a week later that's got me a little concerned as well. So going back here, check this out. As I go forward into time here, we see another big trough here. This is going into the following weekend. We got a big, very strong jet stream coming in here across the west. And not only is it strong, it's its configuration that has me concerned. Now, that's still long range. This is going into day 10 and 11 here. So I just want to point this out that this configuration here, this has me very concerned going in toward Monday and Tuesday of the 5th and 6th, because this is what you call a negative tilted trough, which means you got a lot of wind shear, changing winds with height. You're going to have some colder air kind of plowing into some very warm, moist air out ahead of it. And that has me very concerned going in toward the 5th and 6th. Now, what I'm going to be looking for is model trends to see if that trend continues. So we got the severe weather we got today. We got another round here going on, obviously, for Monday and Tuesday. And we're pretty locked in on that one. But then we got to watch it a little bit deeper into May to see if this one verifies as well. Because when I take this forward here on the European, and you take this forward going out for that same period here, again, boom, you see that kind of fire up there. This is going in toward Monday afternoon. You're seeing these thunderstorms as this low pressure system here coming out of the Rockies. All of this in here could be potentially severe. And because of the wind shear that's going to be in that area, another tornado event. And this one, if this was to verify this far out, is a lot more dynamically strong than the one we're going to see even Monday and Tuesday. So just to be aware, obviously we're in the middle of the heart of severe weather season. You just need to be prepared and watch out for this. So as this thing comes on out, you got a very good clash of air masses in here. Again, this is a snapshot for that Monday. You got temperatures here in the 30s and 40s, and temperatures here sitting in the 70s, well out ahead of it. So these clash air masses are going to be bumping into each other here to set up that potential severe weather. You can see it kind of pushing on outward there and kind of pushing that warm air out of the way, and that's what will help fire off those thunderstorms as we go toward the 5th and 6th of May. So we got multiple days of severe weather we have to watch out for. Let's go take a look at the latest from the Climate Prediction Center as we go and wrap up this report. Again, we're seeing temperatures for a big part of the country here on the 6 to 10 day staying very much on the warm side. As you can see here, we're pretty warm here, very warm here across the areas in the Northern Rockies as well as we go out from the 30th through the 4th. And then we'll see on the 8 to 14 day. Now, this will have to verify depending on what that trough does. Again, the European is now hinting at a big trough coming out there. What they're going to be looking for is model consistency. So if it's still there tomorrow, maybe we start seeing some changes on this. We are seeing below normal temperatures. This has been showing up pretty well here across portions of Texas, which is definitely very unusual to see, especially going into May. But they're saying below normal temperatures there. And that's, again, going out from the 2nd through the 8th of May. What about the precipitation breakdown? Looking at the 6 to 10 day, still looking at above normal precipitation here across portions of Texas, which is good since they've been fighting drought conditions. And looking at below normal temperatures here across, or below normal precipitation, it says, hey, here across the high Rockies back over to the areas of the Great Lakes. And it looks like that's going to be increasing a little bit here as we go a little bit deeper. Look at the 8 to 14, looking like we see things dry out here across areas of the Midwest, stretching into the high plains here as things dry down a little bit. And we start seeing uptick in precipitation down here across the Southwest, stretching through Texas and down along the Gulf Coast. So things staying active there across the Southwest, but a little bit drier there across areas of the Midwest, which have been kind of wet. They could probably use a little bit of a break at this time. All right, that is y'all's update for today. Again, I appreciate you guys. I'm trying some new things here, trying to make this presentation a little more user-friendly, and I'm using a new, obviously, synoptic weather background. I love the display on that, and just a better way for me to kind of explain the weather to you guys. Hope you guys like it. If you do, leave me a comment down below. If you got something you'd like to see, again, leave a comment down below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you like these updates, again, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, I appreciate any kind of feedback you guys can give me. All right, that's y'all's update for today. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next update. Till then, y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.